Good morning again. My name is Carolyn Dykema, and I am so pleased to be here today to introduce our Congressman, Jim McGovern. I would like to take a moment to thank him for his support of my candidacy for State Representative in the 8th Middlesex District. I know that if I'm elected in November, he'll be a great source of support to me as I work locally with groups like the Hopkinton Chamber on the many opportunities we have locally for strengthening. Transportation is another important issue related to our economic strength. It's an issue that I became very familiar with while serving on the Metro West Growth Management Committee, where I participated in discussions around the establishment of our new Metro West Regional Transit Authority, otherwise known as the Metro West RTA. And our Senator, Karen Spilka, who was going to stop in today, I don't see her yet, but just wanted to recognize the tremendous effort that she has put in to get that RTA. In all of these local economic issues, I know that our businesses have strong allies in our congressman, in our senator, and in our entire Metro West delegation. And you'll certainly have an ally in me if I'm elected to serve us at the State House in November. So without taking any further time away from our featured guest today, I'd like to introduce to you our Congressman, Jim McGovern.
Well, first of all, let me thank Carolyn for the very generous introduction, and I can hardly wait to hear what I'm going to say after that. But I also want to, I also admire her incredible background and her incredible commitment to the betterment of this economy. And, I also admire her guts for inviting me here today at this particular moment, because I'm not the most popular guy around. If you could, I should tell you that my phone calls to my office have been pretty overwhelmingly against this rescue package, and I voted for it, and I have to go back tomorrow and vote for it again. So anyway, I admire her courage for even wanting to be seen with me during this difficult time. But she's a friend, and I think she'll be a great legislator, and so I appreciate very much the invitation. Let me just say let me say at the outset, we're going to get through this. And before I go any further, I just saw Senator Karen Spilka walk in. I want to acknowledge her, too. Thank you for coming. It's nice to see you. But we're going to get through this. And my old boss, Joe Moakley, used to say, this too shall pass. And he would add, like a kidney stone, but it will pass. These are very difficult economic times. I think leaders in Washington, from the White House to the congressional leaders, have done a lousy job of connecting the dots for the American people. This really should not be a discussion about Wall Street. And yet that's where all the discussion has kind of focused. This is a bailout for Wall Street, the headlines in some papers have read. That's what some of the talk shows have focused on. This is all about Wall Street. Look, if this was all about Wall Street, I would say, no way. I'm angry, quite frankly, and most of you are as well, about some of the reckless behavior of some of these financial institutions. I think we're all angry that we're in this mess. We're angry that some people didn't follow the rules. We're angry that there was not enough oversight. We're angry that that the rules that should have been in place weren't in place. But the fact of the matter is, this really is not about Wall Street. It is about Main Street. It is about the people in this room, whether you are with the Chamber of Commerce, or whether you are just, somebody who works for a business. The fact of the matter is, this impacts all of us. The modern American economy relies a great deal on credit, the availability of credit. Small businesses, to meet their payroll, oftentimes have to rely on a line of credit to meet monthly payroll. These stores like, Macy's and all these big kind of department stores, they make all their money kind of during the holiday season. During most of the year, they're not doing so well, and so credit carries them through until they can make all the money back. Getting a car loan, student loans, getting a home equity loan for your home, all these things involve credit. When the credit markets begin to tighten up, and in some cases crash, we are in deep trouble. This economy ceases to work. And I'm not worried about the fat cats on Wall Street. Quite frankly, the billionaires will still be billionaires, or there'll be 100 millionaires, and the 100 millionaires will just be tens of millionaires, whatever. I mean, the bottom line is they'll sell a yacht or something, and they'll be fine. But everybody else will be in deep trouble. This country will be in deep trouble. The people that I deal with every day in my district, the teachers, the firefighters, the police officers, the small businessmen and women, those are the people who will be in trouble. Already, you're reading about how the tightening of credit is impacting getting car loans. And as a result, people aren't getting car loans. They're not buying cars. They're not buying cars. Then fewer cars are made. If fewer cars are made, then fewer people are working to make the cars. And we start seeing people getting laid off. What we are trying to do with this imperfect economic rescue plan is nothing more than stabilizing this economy. That is what this is about. It's about stabilizing this economy so that we don't go into an economic meltdown. Barney Frank had a great line. He said, no one ever gets any credit for averting a catastrophe. What we're trying to do is avert a catastrophe. And I have talked to economist after economist after economist, and people tell me they have all kinds of, I've heard all kinds of different approaches to how to deal with this, but almost all of them seem to agree that doing nothing is not an option. Doing nothing could put us into a situation that we will probably not vote tonight. I mean, was it what's today? Wednesday? Yeah, tonight we'll vote tonight. And I assume they will have the votes, and then we're supposed to meet tomorrow around noon, and at some point tomorrow I would expect, or Friday morning, that we will bring this up, and my expectation is that we will have the votes to pass it, and the President will sign it, and I think hopefully, and again there's no guarantee here, but the hope is that this will stabilize things. That's what this is about. It's about stabilizing the economy, nothing more. And nothing less, but to stabilize things, and then we need to move on to the next issue. So let me end here and talk about whatever you want to talk about. Yeah.
I'm Kathleen Buckley. I'm very close to this issue because I'm a real estate broker. I happen to have been involved in a development project in Worcester. The building that we owned as an LLC was foreclosed upon. Many of the people who we did manage to sell to took out these very risky loans, and they were foreclosed upon. So I've been through this pain a little bit myself, personally. What I'm surprised to hear you basically announce is such a fundamental disbelief in capitalism. I'm a liberal in the American sense of the word and in the European sense of the word, meaning letting markets do their thing. Again, from my small position, I don't see the credit markets freezing. Every buyer I know that has good credit, that's a good borrower, is getting loans. Walk into Bank of America, get a $600,000 pre-approval letter on a loan. And it's from, very well-to-do people and also first-time homebuyers who are getting 97% financed FHA loans. I don't see the credit markets freezing because those borrowers, if they're good borrowers, are the best, one of the safest bets still. Quality borrowers with mortgages are one of the safest investments to get good return on your cash. There are people in America and there are people in the world who are seeking good return on their cash. That we shouldn't lend to people who don't plan on paying back is a good thing. It seems to me that there's a proper role for government. Absolutely. There are externalities that come about with capitalism, such as pollution, that's a good example, that industry just has no way to address. I absolutely believe in the role of government for education, healthcare, things that the free market has proven incapable of addressing. In this issue with credit markets, I strongly disagree that government is the best, that even CEO pay, and I think CEOs are far overpaid. But is the proper role for us to be telling companies, you have to pay? That should be a free market determination.
Well, my answer to that is yes, we should. We would disagree on that. I do think that credit markets, in some areas already, people are feeling the crunch. The auto industry is right now the latest. But with all due respect to the Metro West News. I want to hold up the Boston Herald headline today. I mean, and Carolyn will have to deal with this along with Karen. I mean, the deal is, it's mass disaster. Massachusetts is having trouble getting credit.